Hi, I'm Emily Mielstein with the Gulf Council, and this is a public hearing video designed to gather your public comment on an amendment that considers transitioning the federal shrimp fleet to a new vessel position data collection program. So we'll start with a little bit of history. In 2006, Amendment 13 initiated a passive vessel tracking program to provide vessel position data for the purpose of estimating shrimping effort. That program collected data on 10-minute intervals, and that data was stored on secure digital or SD cards, which were collected by National Marine Fisheries Service port agents. And there were approximately 577 vessels that participated in that program. Then, in 2013, a framework action transitioned the fleet to transmitting data to a National Marine Fisheries Service over the 3G cellular network using a cellular electronic logbook. Now, National Marine Fisheries Service was able to pay for the new units. The fishermen were responsible for paying for the installation, maintenance, and also the cell service associated with using those units. Now, that information was combined with dealer reports to estimate shrimp effort, and approximately 500 vessels participated in that program. In 2020, the 3G cellular network expired. So the hardware does continue to collect and store vessel position data. However, those SD cards have to be mailed in, and then new ones need to be mailed back to the permit holder. So we're here due to the expiration of the 3G cellular network. And now that data that's collected has to be manually returned with those SD cards instead of through cellular transmission. Some of those cards that are being returned either have incomplete data or no data at all, and some of the cards just aren't being returned. So we know that automatic transmission provides a higher rate of data return, and it also allows for more rapid notification from National Marine Fisheries Service if a device isn't working properly. Additionally, as these cellular electronic logbooks age and the devices stop working, there are no more programmed or properly functional devices available for replacement. So the Council is considering moving to a new data collection program that archives or transmits vessel position. In addition, there are some sea turtle conservation regulations defined by the Endangered Species Act, specifically Section 7, that require that the shrimp fishery continue to monitor effort at equivalent or greater levels as was conducted over the past 10 years. And then finally, we use those shrimp effort estimates to conduct our annual shrimp stock assessments, to estimate bycatch of finfish, to monitor bycatch for protected species, and also to monitor the juvenile red snapper effort threshold. So with all that said, the overall purpose of this document is to transition from that expired 3G cellular electronic logbook program to a system that would maintain both the Council and National Marine Fisheries Service scientific ability to estimate and monitor fishing activity and effort in the Gulf federal shrimp fishery, while minimizing both the economic burden on the industry and on the agency. And then the need is to make sure that conservation and management measures are based on the best scientific information available, to minimize bycatch to the extent practicable, and also to minimize interactions with protected species. So this is a single action document, and it's important to note that the types of data and the amount and timing of the data that is collected does not vary between the alternatives I'm about to present. So our first alternative is the no action alternative. That would maintain the current method to collect vessel position data through the cellular electronic logbook units that were supplied by National Marine Fisheries Service. Now, under this alternative, National Marine Fisheries Service would have to collect those SD cards from the unit via the mail. So alternative 2 would implement a vessel monitoring system or a VMS requirement for the Gulf federal shrimp fleet. Now, a couple of things that are important about this alternative is that it would require that at minimum archived position data that is compatible with the Southeast Fisheries Science Center shrimp effort algorithm be transmitted to a National Marine Fisheries server. Now, this is, at this point, in this alternative, an Office of Law Enforcement server. The second important thing here is if you are selected by the Science and Research Director to install one of these units, you would have to install a unit that is type approved through the current VMS type approval process. The third alternative, which is the Council's current preferred alternative, would implement a cellular electronic logbook requirement for the Gulf federal shrimp fishery. And that program would archive position data and send it to a National Marine Fisheries server that is specifically not an Office of Law Enforcement server. The other thing it would do is if you were selected by the Science and Research Director to participate in the program, you would get a cellular electronic logbook that would be type approved specifically for the Gulf shrimp fishery through a process that is external to that already defined VMS approval process. So this table will quickly show you a comparison of the two alternatives. Some of the highlights is that the alternative 2 would allow for both cellular and satellite data transmission, whereas alternative 3 would only transmit data through a cellular network. Alternative 2 would transmit data to an Office of Law Enforcement server, whereas alternative 3 would specify that it would not be a server that was an Office of Law Enforcement server. Alternative 2 would allow the devices to qualify for device reimbursement under that the VMS device reimbursement program. However, alternative 3 would not provide for device reimbursement. Alternative 3 would also require field testing and at-sea trials, where that would not be mandatory for alternative 2. And then alternative 3 does have some associated additional costs for National Marine Fisheries Service from developing a shrimp-specific device approval program. So the Council is scheduled to take final action on this amendment during its April meeting in Gulf Shores, Alabama. It would really benefit from hearing your comments and your opinions before taking final action. You can submit your comment in one of two ways. First is simply by emailing us at gulfcouncil@gulfcouncil.org, or you can type in this link and you can submit comment through our online comment form. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and send us your thoughts.